Welcome to the Fellowship of the Films podcast, a podcast where we discuss movies, TV, and other pop culture related topics. My name is Duncan, and with me I have Ryan here today, and today we are discussing the new movie from DC, The Suicide Squad.
Let's go. This is a good movie.
How are you doing today, Ryan? How are you feeling?
I am good, as you may have guessed.
Okay, that's good. I'm good as well. We'll get into it. Now, we're going to, right off the bat, make this a spoiler review. This is full of spoilers. This movie is heavy on spoilers.
Go watch it. It's good.
It's really good. The movie is based off, there's no way to explain it without spoiling it, which means
just watch it.
Even if you're someone who doesn't care about spoilers, go see this movie first and then have us discuss it, because even if you don't care about spoilers, it's just so much better.
It adds
if you don't know.
Adds the experience.
Adds to the experience. So go see it.
Just go watch the movie.
And then come back and listen to our review. That being said, if you've seen it already, which you should have, because everyone out there should be that smart, we are going to discuss it right now.
Yes.
Ryan, your opening thoughts about this.
Oh, that was a great movie. Best DC movie yet.
Best DC, hands down? Is there nothing
hands down. Nothing close.
In the DCEU. What about extended? Like extended past the DCEU.
No.
The Dark Knight.
Dark Knight. Okay, I have to give Dark Knight some props. Okay. But for my personal enjoyment, I think I might. They'd be close. They wouldn't. Yeah. It'd be closer than you think.
I also think
I don't want
there's
to.
a lot of DC
I haven't thought about
movies.
It yet, but I'm putting them close. I haven't ranked it yet.
Right. There's a lot of DC movies outside the DCEU that you haven't seen, so I don't think it's fair to ask you that. But in DCEU, you think this is the best one so far? Oh, by far. Okay, so Ryan is extremely...
By a country mile.
Extremely positive about this movie. I, too, think it's really, really well done. And
Psycho put its fifth.
I think it's really, really well done, but just personal taste, I've put some of the movies that include my favorite characters, like Batman, above this movie. I love this movie. All the DC ones, as we know, are super, super high for me. I love all of them. Probably a lot more than Ryan, but this one, I think me putting it fifth almost puts me equal with Ryan on how much he liked this. Pretty near
here, yes.
Put pretty nearly. So let's get right into it. So you thought this was an awesome movie?
Oh, it was an amazingly awesome movie.
So my opening thoughts, I thought was, again, I loved it. I loved it like I love most DC movies. This one did stand out over a lot of them because, like, when I see, like, another movie with Harley Quinn, like Birds of Prey, I want to see it again, but I'm not, like, leaving the theater going, I want to go back right now and watch that again. This one, I had that. I want to see that again right now.
I know. I definitely, I'm feeling the same thing. I want to rewatch it, definitely.
I would say this is probably the best movie in the DCEU, that includes Harley Quinn.
Well, it's like...
Because I liked it more than Birds of Prey, and I liked it more than Suicide Squad. When it comes to Harley Quinn's character arc, it was okay. I mean, they explored her character more in other movies, but
definitely
the one including her was one of the best movies that included her, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would say.
This was a soft reboot. It was kind of a sequel. Where they stand, like where they put you, you're like, okay, so the first one was almost like the start of Amanda Waller starting Task Force X.
There you go.
I can speak.
Yeah, got you.
And this one's like they've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
I like that. I like this not complete reboot, and you want to see it as a sequel, you can.
Yeah.
I saw it as that. The way I like to view it is the first Suicide Squad was like her starting it up, a tamer mission kind of going on, and then this was the mission that like went unhinged, which it really did. This is an unhinged version of the Suicide Squad. What did you think of that first opening? So in the first start of the movie we have,
as you know,
because you've watched the movie, because you should have.
Last warning, here's your you get last chance, man.
The opening, I'd say 15 minutes of the movie, maybe.
Yeah, it's like you get, because as in the trailer, like there was like the character reveal or whatever, right? There was obviously like a lot of characters in there. You know?
They assemble a squad.
Yes.
It's not all of the squad, but it's
like a group.
A group of the squad.
And it's like, okay, you know, you get sick.
And it's like, okay, this is cool. There's lots of characters in here that we've been curious to see. And then they go to the island and they get slaughtered.
Oh, they get slaughtered hard.
This was brilliant on James Gunn's part because the way it was advertised.
Yeah.
All these characters that get brutally destroyed in the first 15 minutes were advertised in the trailers equally as everybody else. When interviews were done, all of these actors were interviewed the same amount. In trailers, all of these people were given the same amount of attention.
About even,
you had the belief that they were going to be parts of the movie.
No, and then they just got
and then they did not. Shot. Now, what are your thoughts on this? Did you have any negative thoughts, or did you just think this was great?
I really thought that was honestly, I knew I was expecting something. Expected a lot of these characters to die, obviously, right? Because it was an R-rated take on it, right? So you can obviously have a good amount of death and violence and stuff in an R-rated movie, right?
Yeah.
And I just had a feeling that since there were so many of them, they were quite expendable, right? But I didn't think right off the gun they just shoot off half the characters.
Yes, I think I have a few things to start with. I thought it was a great idea only because it sets a precedence.
Oh yeah, people can just
as soon as that movie starts, as soon as that happens, my perspective completely changed.
Oh yeah, people can just die.
I knew automatically to not get invested in anybody. Anybody can die. The stakes were up for anybody, apart from pretty much Harley Quinn, because I knew they were going to keep her because that's their money making.
Well, they were going to keep that also because I think
that's their marketing.
Just for I think she's rumored to be in future stuff too. So
yeah, but it's also confirmed. But it's also a marketing. Everybody loves Harley Quinn, so they're not going to kill her off. It's just going to anger more people than surprise them.
Yeah,
but it sets a precedence, and I think that's a great idea. My only disappointment with it is two things. I really wanted to see Captain Boomerang a little bit more.
Yeah, I kind of like Captain Boomerang, but I mean, I get what you're saying there.
I get what they were doing by saying even a character from the last movie, you can just die. Mm-hmm. I get that, but I really wanted to see him a little bit more. He's also a really classic Flash villain, so I kind of just want to leave it open for in case someday maybe he encounters the Flash or was in a Flash movie or something. But no, they killed him off, so I was not terribly disappointed, but I was a little bit disappointed by that. I like the character.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from on that, actually, just to continue on what you're saying, because I can see where you're going from that. I do theoretically, in the movie it makes sense, because I kind of like how, I do like the angle of, anyone can just freaking die.
Yeah.
But, no, I get what you're saying. I did quite like that was one of the characters I did like in actual, in Suicide Squad, the 2016, I'm pretty sure, right? Or 2017?
Yeah, 2016. So I was disappointed about that. The only other thing is with killing off all these characters, I wasn't so much disappointed about the actual characters. I was disappointed about the cast that I didn't get to see. I wanted to see Nathan Fillion.
Oh yeah, TDK. Yeah.
Not even his character. His character was stupid.
Yes.
I was like, how are they going to make this good? I get that it was a joke character, but even if they had him play someone else, I really, really was excited for Nathan Fillion to be in this movie. I'm a fan of Nathan Fillion. With everything going on, I really wanted to see him more in this movie. The other one I wanted to see more was Pete Davidson. I really enjoy. Dude's hilarious.
Oh yeah.
He was funny in what he was in.
He got his bit.
And I just wanted to see those kind of people more. And Michael Rooker. I also wanted to see. Is that his name?
Yeah, it's Michael Rooker.
Yeah. I wanted to see those three people more. It's not necessarily the characters. It's not necessarily that they were killed off. Those actors. I wanted to see more of.
And I think that's all part of the the ploy too, right? Because they actually did get some actors you've heard of before, right?
Yeah, and included them in a large portion of the trailer, and then just kill them off. Even the trailer makes you think that Michael Rooker will be a decent part because it starts with
at least continued on for a bit at least.
Yeah, but no. So I don't know. I get what they're doing. It works for the effect of the movie. I just I didn't want that to happen.
Oh, I love that, honestly. I gotta say that was that opening. There's that opening beach scene, right? Was amazing because just for my opinion, right? Just the action on that scene was, I gotta say, was pretty good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy scene. It reminded me a little bit of Deadpool 2 when he lands with Task Force X and they all die.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of that.
Well, see, I actually I didn't even think of that because I thought this was different, right?
It was different. I was very different. that's what popped into my head.
Yeah, because I thought of, now you're saying,
it also was a little bit humorous.
They all kind of died as a joke, right?
So I was rolling in laughter when TDK sent his arms over and they were useless, and then when they start shooting him and he's writhing on the ground, he's just writhing around in pain on the ground 6 feet away. I thought that was hilarious. Pete Davidson, for the little bit he was in, I thought it was hilarious. When in the scene that they're first introduced in Squad and he's like, I'm gonna grab my gun. Like, he keeps, like, tempting. He's like,
I'm gonna grab it.
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, just these, the way they were, it was just hilarious. And Javelin, I thought his suit was really cool. Mm-hmm. That's one thing I was like, I wanted to see more of him, because it's actually kind of cool. They could have done something with him having a javelin, and he looks cool. So,
well, I mean, I kind of, like, I feel like almost he was kind of in there just to, like, exist.
I get it, but, like, that was one of the coolest suits. Like, I was like, that's a comic book suit.
That is a comic book suit, yeah.
And then Mongao, I really thought she was going to be invincible. She's supposed to be, like, I think the daughter of Mongul, which is Mongol, I think. I don't know. From the DC Comics, and he's, like, a really powerful, like, he is next to Darkseid. Mm-hmm. So I really thought she was going to be powerful.
Just, no.
And no,
I
she
mean,
just died.
At least this movie corrects. People do die in helicopter crashes.
I mean, yes. I just thought she was going to be invincible to the helicopter, but no, she burned just like everybody else. So
yep. Well, people actually do die in helicopters.
Yeah, I suppose. So overall, as much as I like, the one side of me goes, I didn't like that. The other side was like, that's really effective. So this opening scene has so much to discuss, but I think
I thought it was effective for what I thought it was very effective in the movie, and overall, I thought it was a great way to set the tone. It was a great tone setter for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, now that's the one chunk we'll talk about, and then the rest of the movie is its own chunk. So I think we'll just kind of jump around.
Yeah, because it's just kind of that's the main talk. Because it's kind of the whole movie itself. Also, they kind of do this weird chapter-based kind of almost thing, right?
I really like that's the other thing I was going to mention was when they changed like 1 hour later, or 3 hours earlier.
Yeah,
it's like
it's not just text on screen.
It's not text on screen. It's into whatever the background is.
Mm-hmm. They're using like smoke or whatever. Yeah,
I love because they do that in comic books. Mm-hmm. This is a comic book movie. This is very comic book movie.
Oh, and I just felt
like a Suicide Squad comic book come to life in so many ways.
And the thing I liked specifically about that, right, as like seeing it on screen, is it's a lot more interesting. It's not as like boring as just text on screen. You know what I mean? Because like we've seen a lot of that, especially in like, you know, and that's the one thing about Marvel movies, they do love their text on screen.
They love the big white text.
Like they love that text.
When they're putting up a year, they just put a giant white 19 whatever
19 something or other. You know, it's like that. I definitely like the change. Just from like this movie is like it's definitely a change.
Yeah.
Compared to like a lot of the other comic book movies that are out there right now.
Indeed, and so, what's the next thing we'll touch on this movie?
I do like how much violence there was in here.
I thought it was effectively used. There was times that I was like, that's unnecessary.
Oh, it's not unnecessary. It's completely
supposed to be unnecessary. So, we then, after those characters died, we panned to not knowing this at the start, seeing that there was another squad coming in on the other side.
Yeah, there was Part B squad, which is once you see the other characters, you assume these are a little bit more, you know, permanent.
Yeah. These ones are more effective.
A little bit more effective.
I enjoyed all these characters. One criticism was Bloodsport seemed like a real parallel to Deadshot. Amanda Waller is using his daughter as leverage, like, and he's like,
well,
a guy who can shoot well. He was like Will Smith in this movie. As much as he had a bit of a character change.
Well, I think the motivation is a lot different, personally, from what you're saying. Because, in the other movie, right, remember, the reason he, you know, got caught is because his, like... Well, this is a completely different reason. Because the reason he got caught is because his daughter wouldn't let him just shoot Batman, right?
Right, yeah.
And so that's the reason he got caught, but that's a completely different thing. Because the reason he went out is so he could spend time with his daughter, right?
Right, and this one doesn't have a great...
No, this is Amanda Waller, like, blackmailing him into helping. Because he didn't want to help.
Yeah, and I don't mean that the storylines are saying it's just a little too parallel for me.
It is like, similar, I will say.
Shooter guy with a daughter, like, you know what I'm saying?
I seen the parallels when I first seen the original trailer. Like, I'm like, okay, this is what they're doing for Deadshot instead. They're giving us Bloodsport, right? Yeah. And I'm like, but now actually watching the movie, I'm actually completely okay with that. Just because the characters, like, their abilities are a lot different. Sure, they're both marksmen and stuff, but, like, Bloodsport has a lot of gadgets and other stuff, right? Because he has, like, the flames. He also has, like, the grappling hook and kind of stuff, right?
Also, his gun that kind of morphs.
Yeah, his little... That was really cool. There's, like, all these little attachments and stuff, right? Yeah. I think he's a lot different a character than, like, where Deadshot just is really good at shooting.
Right. Yeah. So, there's that, and then the other thing... So I think that was my only criticism. They felt a little too parallel.
They were a little similar.
I felt like they could change it up a little more, but that's whatever.
Yeah, they I think they could have had something instead of the $2 like the parallels. But I mean, I guess it's like the way I kind of see these movies, right? Is I see them as like, for me at least, because you explain how you've seen them, right? For me at least, I see them as like the first one was I see them as both like a reboot and like a continuation in a way, if you know what I mean. Okay. Because like it's gonna take a second to explain this, but like I see it as like a reboot because it's, you know, there's a lot of the characters, and it seems like the events of the last movie, other than a couple moments, seem less and not very like continuation of the story. You know what I mean? This is like a new story, right? Right. With some of the same characters, is the way I kind of see it. Yeah. And the way I see it is like that's why the the two comparisons don't really, because it's kind of like it's what's the right word? That's just like two people had the same idea in a way. Right. Me.
Yeah, I get that, but like. Yeah, for me, I just see it as another adventure of the Suicide Squad. Mm. I still see the first one as the introduction to the idea. Mm-hmm. But also, I just see this as another adventure.
That's the one nice thing I liked about is like the opening scene was also another way to explain like the nanites and stuff, right?
Right. Yes. And so yeah, there was that. There's one other thing I was going to hit. Oh, the humor. I was really worried about the humor in this movie because sometimes James Gunn's humor. A little much. Like, I really had an issue with Guardians of the Galaxy 2 for the humor because I just felt like it was a little bit much. It felt like the characters were doing more laughing than I was. It felt the humor sometimes. It felt like I took it overboard for me.
Just once in a while, yeah. Like, it was pretty. I thought it was about the same, but it was just a little for me. I noticed what you're saying.
And the trailer, I was really worried because some of the jokes there was like There was a dick joke and a poop joke in like. The trailer, and I was like, I'm a little concerned because I don't really want a ton of that because I just kind of find it's not that funny to me. I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. But it was not overwhelming in the movie. No, it was pretty much just those two, and the rest of the humor was a little bit more subtle, but really funny. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like the contest between Peacemaker and Bloodsport to try to kill the most people and
the most effective, brutal way, you know.
Yeah, like, Bloodsport was just so... And Peacemaker was just so over the top, like, with the axe, and he walks by the guy laying and just, like, chop, 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 chop.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just...
And just, like, his freaking, like, his pistol, right? Which is just the absolute, just almost over-the-top thing with the size of the stupid thing.
So, I was really entertained by lots of the humor. Mm-hmm. I thought hit okay. Like, even Polka Dot Man seeing his mother and everybody.
Oh, yeah, that was like
There's times... That took
some of them was a little weird, but like some of the other times I'm like, okay, I'm okay with this.
Yeah, those times that was overboard, but kind of showed that he was crazy too.
Yeah, he was crazy.
Also, you kind of almost felt bad for him.
Oh yeah,
partway through the movie because he was rough.
He's just had a rough life, man. Like,
and then of course,
he
dies. Yeah. So, but yeah, there's so many aspects of this movie really well. Comedy. It had heart.
Yeah,
which you were like, this brutal of a movie. How can I have heart? Mostly, the one I'm thinking about is Ratcatcher 2.
Yeah,
with her father and the meaning of all that. I was like, how is it pulling off this kind of meaning and hitting you in the emotions like this when it's this kind of brutal movie?
Exactly. Yeah. No, it actually had good emotional connections. I have to say for the movie, just like the entire like kind of like storyline of her and her dad and like what happened there.
Exactly.
And a little like the flashback on the bus and stuff, and then like at the end, right?
Yeah, the end was where it hit, and Taika Waititi. Playing the dad.
Yeah, that was
it was just nice to see a familiar face there. And so it had comedy, it had heart. The action was brutal, and like when
like just the first like bit of the thing I liked, right? Like the first bit of action, just like
it lets you know this is gonna be brutal.
Oh, like when what's his face? Blackguard. He's walking up the beach, right? He just gets shot in the freaking head.
I saw that coming, but I was so disappointed. I was like, I like Pete Davidson, but you know what?
You just like that. Just that one more. It's just like oh, this is this kind of movie. You know?
Yeah, that's it right there. Now Weasel, we think dies, but he wakes up at the end.
Yeah.
But for the time he was there, he was hilarious because like
did anyone ask
Rick Flag is like, I think he's agreed to this. I think
yeah.
Even when everybody jumps in the water, he jumps in the water just in the most inefficient way possible. Nobody checked to see if he could swim.
Did anyone check if Weasel could swim?
it's just the way he walks. He's so stupid. Like, I just love that character.
It's just an actual
If he's still
joke.
alive, I'm like, because they say he's still alive.
Oh, he's alive at the end. Yeah.
I really want. I know he's gonna die if he shows up again because that's just the type of character they kill off. But I'm like, I do want him to show up again.
Oh yeah, in some finales. Yeah.
So the action was brutal, and what else did this movie have? The movie had so many things.
It had good. Like, I have to say,
the story changes. Like, first it starts with this, and it progresses in. I think it progresses in a good way, where it's not confusing, and you're like, okay, their motivations are changing from like this to Starro, but then you see America's involvement.
Yeah, like, we have to actually get this out.
Rick Flag dying. What are your thoughts on that?
Like, I get it. Like, it's actually interesting because here's the thing, right? I didn't think he'd actually die. He was one of the couple of characters that I'm like, okay, I could see him like making it through, right? But it makes sense for the movie in this because he was kind of like their like leader-ish, right? And like the whole like line that like she like Amanda like a Walder, she was trying to make like Bloodsport the leader, if you remember that whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's like it makes sense, and I'm like, yeah. Like, I didn't, like, I liked how it had happened, actually, honestly, because it's, like, Peacemaker, like, he's able to, he's he'll do whatever it takes for peace, right?
Yes, I get why it was practical to do it, but again, I have that comic book self of mine, it's like, I like to see characters appear in other things, and he's not going to appear again. He always leads the Suicide Squad, like, in the comics, since the start of the comics, he has, for the most part, led the Suicide Squad. So that disappoints me a little, but if there is more Suicide Squad movies, I am excited to kind of see who else leads. Mm-hmm. But of course, I'm disappointed about this death. I know he's not coming back. Yeah. Because, we know that James Gunn has made statements about how he hates characters being brought back from the dead. That's his criticism towards Marvel, is he does not like characters, like, not actually dying. When a character dies, he wants them to actually die. Yeah. And it's almost like it's kind of proving that with how you see it like go into his heart, like they zoom into.
No, this guy's dead. Just letting you guys.
That was like full Mortal Kombat. Like you go inside his body and see.
That's like straight up like Mortal Kombat finisher. Like
I had to like I was grossed out by that. I was like I had to like glance down for a second. I was like Jesus, like it was gross. That was one point I was like, oh wow, this is just nasty.
Yeah, they're just making sure. I think that's just the way of saying, okay, or we could just leave him bleeding, but no, he's dead, guys. He's just dead. Letting you know.
And then Peacemaker, they say, is going to come back. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we saw that coming. Well, anybody who's in the know...
We didn't see him die, though, right?
Yeah, he was
mortally wounded.
With a bullet.
He was mortally... But that doesn't kill you. Like, a neck shot's not instant death. It's pretty much death.
I assumed anybody in the know knows there's a Peacemaker show coming, so we assumed he would be coming back, but it might have been a prequel show or something. We don't know. So
could be a prequel, too, yeah. But he didn't die at the end.
But he didn't die, so I assume they're doing that because of the Peacemaker show.
Yeah.
I was not terribly interested in the Peacemaker show. When they said, oh, we're making Peacemaker show, I was like, really? That's the character you're going to go with? Yeah, anybody else I would rather see. By the end of this movie... I'm a little bit interested in
I want to see what they're going... I want to at least watch like the first episode and see what they're going for, at least.
My one thing is I'm not a big John Cena fan. He plays the same character in most movies, and he's just kind of flat all the time. But I think he did a good job of what he was trying to be in this movie.
Honestly, I kind of... honestly, I kind of liked it.
He was good at what he's trying to do in this movie, and it makes me a little bit interested for the Peacemaker show. As long as... He was good in the movie, but I don't know that I'm confident that he could hold up his own show. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not gonna.
I'm gonna hold up a little bit. I'm gonna have a little bit of optimism. I'm gonna definitely watch it. You know.
I saw someone make a joke on the internet. And this is a little bit off topic, but I saw someone make a joke on the internet how DC's correcting things now by putting a "the" in front of the title.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad to the Suicide Squad, and they were like, "Wait, the Batman." So that was like, "Oh, how good is this Batman movie gonna be?" But we'll see. We'll see that then. Mm-hmm. Okay. We kind of jumped around the movie, but that's okay because this movie...
The movie kind of just jumps around itself.
The movie jumps around in itself. Is there anything else? Not that we're done discussing it, but I'm thinking what else...
Characters in this movie. Gotta say, S tier, King Shark.
Shark. I was expecting King Shark because I don't really love the type of character. Like, I'm like, oh... They're going to have the dumb muscle. It's kind of, you always have the dumb muscle in these movies, and it sometimes gets old, right?
Yeah,
not necessarily dumb muscle, but it felt very similar to Groot. I was like, he's Groot. He can't speak a lot. He's muscle.
No,
I was actually really entertained by him. Mm-hmm. He was especially dumb. Like, he was more dumb than I'm used to, which made it entertaining.
Yeah.
As well as he was invincible. At a certain point, you realize he's nearly invincible, which means it's almost nice because you're like, okay, I don't have to worry about him. I don't think
he's gonna die.
I don't have to worry about that.
Oh, it's just like when he like fell off the building. I'm like, he's fine.
And so there was that, and just, I don't know. I really enjoyed the character more than I thought I would.
I thought I was at the same point. I had the same viewpoint. I thought this was just a dumb again, and it was like, no, I just enjoyed it because it was kind of funny in a way, right?
Exactly. And one thing I wanted to point out about this movie was body movements, like how characters would like run or move. Mm-hmm. I noticed they were really, I don't know, they were really expressing that because it sounds like a weird thing to point out, but if you look at like King Shark's run, he has a run that you like remember. It's kind of like a jaunt, like
he kind of is a weird. Yeah.
But then at the end, if you watch Weasel run away, he has a run too. So these characters each kind of have their own way of like. And then Bloodsport has his confident walk, of course. I even noticed, like, I don't know why I started noticing these, but even Polka Dot Man he's kind of a cautious guy.
Mm-hmm. And he was always
each of the actors were very good at physically communicating what their character was playing as well.
I actually, I'm thinking about it now, and I actually agree with you. Yeah,
which you need to have, and then Peacemaker, of course, has kind of strong. He has strong like
he had his like
walk.
Yeah,
and it's an important thing to do in a movie with this many characters because your character might not get that much attention to speak or build on his story. So when you're communicating it physically as well, the demeanor that your character has, it really adds to it.
Oh, I do. I agree with you on that. Yeah.
What else is there to touch on in this? There's so much in this movie.
There's
so much.
A lot in this movie.
I'm really wanting to see this again.
I definitely want to rewatch.
What else is there to touch on?
There's a lot of the other characters.
Amanda Waller.
What
did you think of her?
She's an perfect depiction of who I think she should be.
She played relatively the same character as she did in Suicide Squad.
I think it's completely different. Honestly.
Is it?
Because
interesting.
Okay, in Suicide Squad, right? She was like, I think like what's the right word? This is just another level, right? Like the stuff. So a lot of the I think she's a lot more like will do whatever it takes. She has her and Peacemaker kind of really share. That's why she sent Peacemaker as her like backup, right?
Right.
Because they have the very same ideology. They will do literally whatever it takes to get their mission done.
Right. And as much as I like that, my issue, how do I put this? My disagreement with what you're saying is I feel like she does play the same character but amped up. Everything
that's what I said, yeah.
Okay, because you said you started
I think it's different, but it's like, you know what I mean.
I think everything the first Suicide Squad was like a soft introduction to these characters. Everything in this movie is just amped up. So I love how in the first one she's savage because if you recall,
she just killed all her people.
She killed all of her people, but in this one she's prepared to kill all of the guys when they're but I like that her team knocks her out because it shows that she was actually going to do that.
Yeah, she was going to.
And I like the initiative, but most people are scared of her. I like the initiative her team takes. Mm-hmm. But I like that she doesn't like get mad at the team after that. We see she probably did.
She was probably mad, but she doesn't. She doesn't straight up retaliate against them.
We don't see it, and I would like to see maybe that affect her in the next movie and almost like have some trust in some people. Maybe I don't know.
Well, because like I think she realized that they realized that she was a little bit out of line, basically, right?
Right, but I hope it gives her a little bit of sympathy.
Oh yeah.
So you see a little bit of dynamic. She's just not absolutely evil woman. Mm-hmm.
Evil for the good cause, though.
Yeah, exactly. What else was in this movie? So much. The Starro storyline.
Yeah, I like that.
I love that Starro is a character in DC Comics, so I was just so happy to see him interpreted.
Such an absurd villain concept,
and I wanted,
right?
My number one thing was, like, I don't want them to just fight the giant star. I want to see the stars attaching people's faces and them walking around like zombies, because that's what happens in the comics, right?
Well, guess what? They did that.
They did it. I don't know if in the comics they actually, like, you can't... Because in this one, once it attaches to your face, you are done.
You're dead.
There is no removing it and you surviving, really, unless... Yeah.
Unless you have some insane regenerative ability.
Exactly. You're kind of done, which I like that change. I know that's not the same in the comics, because I know in the comics they've attached to, like, Batman, and then he'll come back afterward. Like, you can take them off and you're fine. But I enjoyed that little bit of change. I don't know if that was from something or if they just decided to do that first movie, but I enjoyed that. Yeah, just to see that character was great, and especially inside the lab where there was, like, half a dude and the experiments, everything. It was just so brutal looking. Like that was probably one of the most like parts of the movie. Like you were just like, oh, this is horrible. Which I was really rooting for Rick Flag there. I was like, this needs to get out. And then...
they did in his end. It's actually very interesting because that's the one thing. I was rooting for him too there. But I like how it's very interesting the angle that they take with like the ending, right? Because you'd think like they release the information, but no, they just use it to buy themselves some like, freedom in a way.
Yeah.
From not dying.
I think I've just about got out all my thoughts this movie. I'm going to have more coming, but you know what? If we have any extra thoughts or points, we'll probably
We'll just edit it in after
We'll edit it in after, or we'll post some of it on social media when spoilers get down for this movie. But do you have any closing thoughts or anything else you want to touch on?
No, overall, I have to... Oh, okay, there's one other thing. Like, the one... There was... Remember, the one... It wasn't really... It was kind of like a jump scare, right? Because Harley Quinn has her own entire... Like, the whole entire storyline.
She has a storyline with the dude.
With the president.
I saw him dying. I was like, he's going to die.
No, he's dead, but I didn't see him dying right there. That actually got me.
Yeah, when she actually shot the gun, I actually, jumped a little.
I was like, whoa.
I actually did a physical jump, which I was kind of embarrassed of after. I was like, okay, it wasn't that
no,
scary.
I did it too, man. It got me. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, but I enjoyed that.
It's like, that whole direction, honestly, was just... it was a really different direction from the tone of the rest of the movie.
Yeah, I also like another they always have kind of her her weird fantasy scenes where there's always some kind of cartoony aspect, and so for that it was her escaping with the flowers, and the birds. I just thought that was the javelin really, and stuff, right? Real cool, and I like how she carried the javelin to the end. It gave that character who died in the start. Yeah, all of them had next to no meaning. It gave him a little bit of significance.
He had a javelin that got carried on, at least,
Yeah, so I enjoyed that. I don't really have any closing thoughts. I really, really enjoyed this movie. I enjoy all DC movies, but this one stuck out to me. This is a favorite. This is one that I will see again and again.
Oh, it's just got that...
This is one I will share with people. I mean, only the right people, because to some people this movie will be...
For some people, just saying, it is, there is violence.
This is a very, very over-the-top gory movie. I think this is... Is this even... In Canada, is this... I know it's R in the States, but in Canada, is it even... Well... Canada has 14A or 18A. Is it 14A or 18A?
I want to say it's probably 18A.
Let's check really quick here because I'm just curious. Because I would think it would be 18A, not 14A. But the Deadpool movies were 14A. Well, this was even brutal.
I would say, yeah, because the Deadpool, it was more for language and other things, right? I think.
Yeah, let me check here and see who can find it first. Okay. This is 14A.
Only 14A?
It looks like it.
What do you have to do to get an 18A in Canada, then?
Canada, Alberta/Ontario, 14A.
What do you have to do to get an 18A?
I'm not sure.
Do you have to, straight up murder a man in real life in your movie?
I'm not sure, but...
His actor has one appearance because he's dead now.
I don't know, but it's 14A. Anywho, so that's that. Closing thoughts out of 10, Ryan.
Oh, you're getting me here, man. I hadn't thought of that yet. I'd actually have to give it,
He's thinking. He's thinking very deeply. He's like the thinker.
I'd have to give it an awesome.
An awesome out of 10. Wow, that sounds high.
Mm-hmm. It's the highest I've ranked anything so far on this podcast.
Interesting. That's a good rating. I think I'm gonna give it. For me, it's an 8.5 to a 9.5, somewhere between there. Maybe I'd even give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, that's kind of that would be roughly where mine would be if you want to quantify it with numbers.
But around there, an 8.7, somewhere really high in between there. But I can't quite place it right now. I don't know. I want to keep it open.
I gave it really high, and for DC, this has surprised me how good it is. Because, on the track record, I haven't liked as much of the stuff they've released recently. But just for, I think it's just... And I think they're heading... If this is, not even, this direction, but, this, this quality...
yeah.
If this is the direction they're heading, I might actually be almost more excited for, DC.
I am interested as to what James Gunn will do in the future. With DC stuff, because he can't obviously do just gory movie after gory movie because it will get old. Oh yeah. So I'm interested.
This will definitely be a one of thing for at least a hot minute.
Yeah. So I'm wondering what other stances he can take to a DC
because there's
movie. But we'll see that in the future.
We'll see what happens in the future.
I rate it. I'm gonna leave it at 9 for now. 9 out of 10.
Leave it at 9. Yeah.
It was a very good movie. Go see it, people. I mean, I would hope if you listen to our
see it again.
Go see it again if you've already seen it. And we don't have any current plans for a new episode. Usually at the end of an episode, we'll be like, "Oh, we've got this coming
episode. Up." Yeah, no, this one, and also if you're hearing this ahead of another video, ignore something else.
Yeah, sometimes the videos we record, and then sometimes it depends when they get released.
Plan gets changed out of order because things happen.
But you will hear from us again. If not sooner, you will hear from us by Shang-Chi, Marvel.
Yeah, definitely by there at least.
But for the time being, watch movies like DC, like me, and now like Ryan. Now honestly, like Ryan.
If they he's
come to this side.
What's the right word? If they make like Black Adam and like Flash and all those other ones, if they make them like, even if they can get me a 7, or like a good, you know what I mean? I'd be happy with that.
There'd be a revolution.
I know. I'll take it. Like.
Okay, have a great rest of your day, everybody, and follow us on social media, on Twitter and on Instagram. The links to
the About section of our channel. This has been the Fellowship of the Films podcast. I'm Ryan, and I have Duncan.
Yeah, and have a great rest of your day.
Bye.